Hello, I'm here in the New Forest, surrounded by dog walkers, as you can probably hear, and I'm here to film a bit of an update about my 2020 goals. I know I filmed a video and talked about how we could listen to God, and that actually didn't need to have loads of goals, you just listen one step at a time. But I just wanted to share how it's worked out with me for 2020 and what God's been speaking to me about, and how different that looks to 2019. In 2019, my goals were very simple. In 2018, we'd had the tragic loss of my 5-year-old granddaughter, and very much still recovering from that and trying to understand that. So through the busyness of December, I've been kind of leaning in and asking God to give me some guidance. And to be honest, I'd kind of been hoping that He'd give me a list like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do this, do. Didn't quite work out that way. So just wanted to share with you the goals that I feel He's given me, and they look totally different. They're not do this, do that. So the first one is community and connection. Community is so important. I've certainly been doing a lot of soul searching and reading around community, what the church is supposed to be like, how we're supposed to live in community, and I am more convinced than ever that we're hardwired to be in community. And so exploring what that might look like for me and my family and others around me is something I'm looking to do. I've kind of feel I may have heard from God on a couple of things which definitely put me out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to be exploring those over the coming weeks and months. Also kind of leaning in and saying, okay, what does this look like for me? Where do I find community? Just trying to understand what community is and how we can actively and be more a part of it, and therefore experience the fullness of life that God's got for us and for me. The second one is moments of peace and stillness, and God's really been speaking to me about taking time out, taking time to stop and just be still and listen and be. And in our lives that are so crammed with busyness, crammed with stuff, it's really tough to stop for long enough to even hear yourself think. And so prioritising and actually being intentional about that, because those kind of things really don't just happen. We have to plan them in to happen. And even over these last couple of weeks, I've been trying something out which has worked out really amazingly well, that I want to give a little more time to sort of settle in and see how that works and what I'm learning from it before I share it with you. But I think I'd love to share that with you in a future video. And thirdly, He's been speaking to me about one simple word, and it's simplify. There's a lot of this decluttering movement that's been really so big lately, and yes, it might well mean some of that, but it's definitely more than that. It's about living your life unencumbered by those things, needing less so that you can live more. And the final one goes back to something I read a really, really long time ago, and the book asked you to walk into a funeral, and you walked down to the casket at the front, and it asked you to think, if this was your funeral, what would you want your family and your friends and your work colleagues to be saying about you? And that was really challenging. It really brought me up short, because it wasn't something I'd ever really lived thinking about, and I don't think it's a morbid thought. Just even thinking about that moment, you have to live far more intentionally than just drifting through life and letting life happen to you. Imagining yourself in the future looking back is such a powerful tool. I've had a couple of times in this last year when I've had a really big decision to make, and I've had two ways of making that. One is, which would bring God most joy? And second is, which would I be most proud and happy to have made in 5 years' time? So this year I'm going to be exploring the idea of how would I live differently if I only had 1 year to live. I think that will mean being more generous with my resources, with my time, but living unencumbered by all the stuff. There's an unencumbered word, because that came a lot across with the simplify thing again, didn't it? Even in my business life, in terms of writing books, I've got a much more ambitious schedule this year, because there's so much I really want to share with you guys. So that's my 4 kind of areas of just exploring and pushing forward with God this year. So just to recap: exploring community and connection, moments of peace and stillness, simplify, and living as if I've got 1 year to live. So that's my 2020 goals. That's the guidance, that's the rudder that's going to be steering this ship, as it were, through the waters of 2020. If you've enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe below. I'll be coming back with more thoughts and my updates on my 2020 goals, specifically those moments of peace and stillness is probably going to be coming up in the next couple of months. Anyway, it's been really great sharing some time with you. Thank you so much for watching.